Thinking of buying an Alienware? Well, I got a PC, $1,000 budget that can beat out the Alienware X51 in wipe and everything. Like I said, if you're interested in buying an Alienware PC, if you don't know what Alienware is, it's basically a company by Dell that makes gaming computers, and I figured I could make a better PC for the $1,000 budget, the Alienware X51. So I'm going to be going back and forth between the two and showing back and forth what the advantages and disadvantages of these different things are. Now, keep in mind, I did not build this PC, but I do recommend building your own PC because you can get way better value. When you basically get above the $400 price point, you can get a better value for what you're getting. So, on the Alienware and the processor, you get a Core i7 4770. I went ahead and got the i7 4770K. If you don't know what that means, the K means you can overclock it. And that means you can boost the speed up and get the performance. So you're paying about an extra $20, $30 to get that huge window of performance. Now, what are you going to need to cool the CPU? Because you can't use a stock cooler. We're going to go ahead and pick up a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Plus Air CPU cooler. I've never really been a fan of water cooling. I've always been a fan of air cooling. Air cooling seems to get the job done. You can do some decent overclocking with this cooler. If you really want to go water cooling, that's your option. For the motherboard, we're going to pick up an Asus ZA7A ATX LGA 1150 motherboard. Wow, that's a lot to say. This is an overclockable PC. It's compatible, and it's Asus. And Asus always makes great motherboards. For the memory, I forgot to go back and forth, but it doesn't say what the motherboard is, but it definitely doesn't. You can't overclock the Alienware because if the Intel, on Intels, if it doesn't have the K at the end, it means you can't overclock it. So, you obviously need a motherboard that can handle it, and obviously this one will be able to handle it. Next, we're going to pick up the memory. This one has 8 gigabytes of memory. It doesn't say the speed, just says DDR3. But I went ahead and still picked up 8 gigabytes, but I wanted to get a good speed of 1600 megahertz. So we're going to pick up the Corsair Vention 8 gigabyte DDR3 1600 megahertz memory for about $90. So, next for the storage, we're going to pick up a Western Digital Caviar Blue 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drive. This hard drive is a very good hard drive. It stores 1 terabyte, which is fine for now. And what I recommend doing once you get the extra money, $200 or so, is picking up an SSD and running your OS on that. So, that's just an option to look for, but I couldn't put it in this build with the punch I wanted to pack. Now, in this Alienware one, it has a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 645, and I could get something way better than that. I got a Asus Radeon HD 7870 GHz edition 2 gigabyte video graphics card. I really love this graphics card. First of all, it's overclocked a little bit, but you can still overclock it a lot. I don't even think you need a cooler. It has 2 really good fans. If you want to add a CPU cooler, go ahead by all means. But I think you can overclock this a decent much. I believe it's a 1.1. It's a 1.0 clock speed. But you can obviously overclock that more. So next, for the case, you can change this. This is really just kind of personal opinion, but I'm going to pick up an NZXT Source 210 Elite ATX mid-tower case for $45. This is a really nice case. It's mid-tower and has decent airflow, which is always good. You want a good case. I believe it has cable management too. Maybe not the best, but good enough. For the power supply, we're going to go ahead and go with the Cooler Master 600 watt 80 plus bronze certified ATX power supply. This power supply is not modular at all, but it is still a great power supply, and you need to get 600 watts for this build if you want to be overclocking, I think. And it's 80 plus bronze, so it's going to be delivering clean power, and it's by Cooler Master, and Cooler Master is always a great brand to go with. Now again, you don't need this, but it will help out your Windows installation a little bit easier, but I personally like to have an optical drive, and I found a cheap Blu-ray reader, so I said, hey, why not get a Blu-ray reader? You may be doing some video editing on this, and you may want to make it into Blu-ray, so I got a Blu-ray reader and writer. It's by LG, and it's only 45 bucks, so it's actually not a bad price for what you're getting. Now, that's the build. That's $1,000 right there. Now we're going to get into the more setup type thing. For the OS, if you want to go with Linux, you can, but you're not going to be able to do as much. Not all games are right now compatible with Linux, so if you want to play Battlefield 4 and all that stuff, you're probably going to need to get Windows. So I went ahead and picked up Windows 8 64-bit. Windows 8 is not that much more expensive than Windows 7. It is a very good upgrade, and it is a lot faster, and games are now taking advantage of that. Next, I wanted to get a good monitor, so I went ahead and picked up the Asus VX228H 60Hz 21.5-inch monitor with a 1 millisecond response time. Asus makes great monitors. They always have. They've always impressed me on this. It's a going to be a very good monitor, and it's only coming in for 150 bucks, so it's always a good decision. And 1 millisecond response time is always good to have too. Too bad I really tried to get a 120 Hz monitor, but I couldn't. I don't even think these components can handle it, but you can always upgrade your components. The motherboard does support Crossfire. It supports Crossfire and SLI, so if you want to stick on another graphics card, you can, and you can probably get a 120 Hz monitor. Definitely the Core i7 can handle that. Now, these two things are going to be personal. You're going to hate me for this. For the keyboard, we're going to go with the Cooler Master CM Store Quickfire TK. I just posted a video just about 10 minutes ago, and then I'm making this one. So, again, this is all personal opinion, get any keyboard, but I do recommend a mechanical keyboard, and a video will be coming out this week talking about that. For the mouse, we're going to go with the Razer Death Adder 2013 wired optical mouse. This is a good mouse. Razer makes great mice, sorry, bad grammar. But, so, what do you think of the build? Let me know in the comments section. I think this really packs a great punch comparing to the Alienware. Definitely getting better components. Yeah. So for $1,000, you can do this build. Now for the 4 things I just mentioned, you're gonna be paying about $1,500. So keep that in mind. All these links will be in the description. It's gonna take me a while, but it'll what's a build without putting it in there? And these are current prices as of like now. Sorry for shaking the camera real quick. Sorry. So that's it. That was actually a pretty good build. I'm actually surprised I could get all of that into a build. So, yeah. Next time, build your own PC and you will get a way better deal. Thank you guys for watching. Please rate, comment, and of course, subscribe.